So, well, thank you for accepting to do this interview. How would you define
Thank you.
yourself? Because you're like this, you seem to me like this guy, this person that shares his knowledge from past life that you remember from. How would you describe yourself actually?
I usually describe myself as educator because I love education and I study education for to teach at schools and to help teachers to know how to teach. So that's what defines me.
Yeah, but what's define you rather than any kind of teacher is that what's invisible, what's for most of us non-comprehensible, meaning like talking about dimensions or talking about Atlantid or the new civilization or past lives. For you it's kind of, I mean, you share that with like if it was tangible matter, you know, it's so for you it's the same. I mean,
Yeah, for me, it's the same thing. I I don't make a difference between everything that is around in information in the universe and this here.
mm,
It's not like two different things. For me, it's like all the things, um, all the things connected in the same unity, but understood in different ways. So what brought me into this space of education and sharing with others was my my memories of how to connect all those dots. So that's why I am defined like an educator. I
yep,
like to be an educator, but the name that defines me is a rememberer.
yeah.
So
And you
basically,
help
I
others to
remember.
remember, and you help others through that to remember as well. How do you,
Yes.
how
I was encouraged, but not because of spirituality, encouraged because of creativity,
mhm,
which was very different
yeah,
because we had no background in spirituality or any kind of religion. So that helped me to develop
yeah.
any memory without any condition.
Do you remember choosing that family or not?
Yes, I do. Yes, I remember beings bringing me to see my mom when she was 10 years old. I remember seeing all the situation of my family and remember the door of my house being a spirit from the outside. So yeah, I know I've been prepared to choose a place that allowed me to not be so conditioned to
Yeah.
other beliefs. Yeah.
Do you remember the moment of birth on Earth, this incarnation, the time of transition when you
Yeah.
incorporated the body?
Yes, yes. I even remember a sentence that was not a sentence. It was a feeling of a being that was helping me to go into the body. And the being whispered to me, "Welcome to life. Believe everything, but don't believe in anything." And that's the last thing that I that I remember. Um, and then I remember classical music, and that was my next memory. After that, I was because my grandfather used to listen classical music while I was in the womb. Um, and after that, I remember everything. I remember the
Mm.
doctor. I remember everything that was happening during the birth. Um, and yeah, and I kept remembering
Yeah.
everything.
Is there really a point of death or like whatever the newborn comes becomes a human being? I mean, comes out into the real form. I mean, comes out of the body. Is there a moment of where it's really? I mean, it seems to us like the people on Earth really chose strongly to be here right now at this moment in time, and even throughout all times because it's suffering to come you know to be
Yeah,
born on earth, it seems.
at least once in your existence, you have chosen to be here. Maybe that choice was 10 billion years ago, and and all the rest of the years you had no clue what you were doing. But at least once you choose to be in this reality. So sometimes eventually you stop choosing and you stop you start being just an echo, a remembrance of every decision that you have taken in the past. So eventually you don't choose anymore, but everything that is happening to you now, like being born, death, everything, is just an echo of your first decision.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
and there's no really a moment of for the spiritual point of view, there's no really a moment of death and birth. It's more like a wave. But for us in the body, we kind of, yeah. But in the body, you experience it even more, the moment of birth. But it's not that the spirit is anchored in the moment of birth. Actually, it's anchored in the moment of conception. And that's the moment when the spirit starts to really anchor in the body or being born, actually.
Yeah. You describe in that series on Gaia moments where you are, and most of the time you seem totally guided by your guides, let's say, that you would call it your guides. And you compare it to different phases of your life where they're not there and they're off and you're off and you have your persona that seems completely different that takes over. Can you describe that difference so we can really understand and so that we can better connect ourselves to our guides and know what it feels like when we're on and off?
Yes. Yeah, when we are usually off connection when we are living our daily life, basically because when you are connected to your guides all the time, you kind of lose the sense of reality, because they usually don't talk about past, present, or future. They just talk or communicate in different levels with no time and no space. So that kind of confuses you eventually, because it's like, but where should I go? When should I do this? It's like very confusing, because for them it's like fifth dimension. So in the fifth dimension, there's no correlation to this one. So usually when you are connected, you are having awareness of everything, but cannot be related to this reality all the time. You can see the whole, you can have awareness, but it's very difficult to really manage physical stuff. I had to leave these two experiences of being completely here and also connected into no space, no time, according to the stages of my task. What they said was, you need sometimes to be disconnected from the fifth dimension in order to accomplish goals in the third dimension, because if you don't know how to handle the third dimension, it makes no sense for you to connect to the fifth dimension. So there's no projects, no goals, no missions if you're not connected here, grounded. So it's needed for us to have periods of disconnection, because it means that you are trying to connect in a different way with a different dimension. So it's not meant for us to be constantly connected to them in those levels, but we can try to understand that we are connected to them. We can sense that we are connected to them when we don't have to think much about the things that we are doing, and they, even though, show up like solutions, people, things, they show up easily, and you don't have to do many things in order to accomplish something. So that's how you experience, basically, you are connected to them, even if you don't listen to them.
Yeah. So how different would you make with intuitions then and messages of the heart? Between guide, intuition, and heart.
Yeah, basically both are needed, because to trust your guides, you have to trust yourself, your intuition. Sometimes when you listen to them, like I did, even if you don't listen to the intuition, they will push you to do some stuff that you have to do. and life will push you towards that. Even if you're afraid or confused or you have no idea what you're doing, life will push you towards that situation. That's them, which actually, from the point of view of the fifth and sixth dimension, is yourself, just split in the fifth dimension. So your guides are actually aspects of yourself that are aware of yourself, telling you, you have to do this, otherwise we cannot move in the third dimension. But it's actually you. So when you feel intuition, it's another way of, instead of listening to guides, you're connecting with your higher self, which is like connecting to the core of them. It's like if you, the easiest way to understand this is you have a left hand, a right hand, a head, one foot, other foot, and all together are working for you to walk, to do stuff, to think, to see, to sense. So imagine that one of your guides is your right, another one is your left, another one is one eye, the other one is another eye, or one is your hearing, the other one is your mouth, whatever. So imagine that all those guides are those parts of you. But when you go back to the heart, all of them are connected as one. So whether you can follow what you see or what you listen or what you sense, or you can just go to the heart and trust everything. So it's basically that. So you can picture the guides as different parts of yourself, that when you go back to the core and the intuition, it's like connecting with all of them at the same time.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to do that if the heart is not open.
Mm-hmm. Very, very different.